Hi, everybody. Welcome to our channel, our Scientology stories, Peeling the Onion. My name is Mark Fisher, and I want to welcome you to our channel. And I'm here flying solo because my partner, Janis Gillham Grady, she's down in Florida right now. And last night she was down in downtown Clearwater, meeting up with friends, having dinner at a restaurant called Tequila's Mexican Cantina and Grill, or Grill and Cantina. It's on Cleveland Street in Fort Harrison. And I'm going to share with you some photographs from that time period, as well as a short video that Janis did while she was down there. And it looks like everybody had a good time and all. So let me go ahead and share these with you right now. Janis in Clearwater, January 27th, 2024. First of all, this is Janis Gillham Grady. If anybody doesn't know, she was one of the original Commodore's messengers, L. Ron Hubbard's messengers. She started when she was 13 years old, and she spent 6 hours a day, 7 days a week, for about 8 to 9, 10 years, all the way up until she was in her early 20s. And this is a photograph of Janis with L. Ron Hubbard in the Caribbean doing a photo shoot. And she spent a lot of time with him and, of course, knew him inside and out. And as a young girl, basically, she had no parents there. So he was basically acting as kind of a father figure along with his wife, Mary Sue Hubbard. But this is Janis back with L. Ron Hubbard back in the day. And she was one of the people closest to Hubbard for quite some time. In 1975, they bought the Fort Harrison Hotel in Clearwater, Florida, and they went land-based from the flagship Apollo. And this is a photograph of L. Ron Hubbard in Clearwater area. He was actually living in Dunedin, and he was doing recordings. They basically had a front group called United Churches, and he was offering to do audio recordings of local choirs and performances and that type of thing. And this is a photograph of him in Clearwater. On the left is Laurel Sullivan, who was L. Ron Hubbard's public relations officer. And on the right is Annie Tidman, Annie Rush, who was one of the messengers who was assisting him at the time. So this is a picture of him in the Clearwater area there in 1975 in that time period. And then this is a photograph here of Hubbard. You can see him in the lower left at the console, and he's got headphones on, and he's recording some kind of a church musical group there in their recording area. And you can see the band up there in the front. And this was done for majorly public relations purposes. They didn't know that L. Ron Hubbard was living in Clearwater at the time, and he didn't introduce himself as L. Ron Hubbard, but it was just a way for him to get out and do things and make his presence known. And of course, shortly thereafter, the mayor of Clearwater, Gabe Cesaris, found out that United Churches, who bought the property, the Fort Harrison Hotel, under an assumed name, was actually the Church of Scientology. And he was starting to go to the media and to the press locally and raise a ruckus. And then Hubbard had to basically skedaddle. He left the Dunedin area and took off up to Washington, D.C., and then eventually out to California. But this is a photograph of him at that time period. This is Janis in that time period in 1975-76 in the cabana on the lawn between the cabanas at the Fort Harrison and the main hotel. And this is what she looked like at that time period. And she's there with one of her friend's children at the time, playing with them on the lawn. But so Janis had a long history in Clearwater from when they first bought the property up until she left the Sea Organization in 1990. So this was kind of like a little bit of a homecoming to go and see the area, and also to hook up with some of the other YouTube creators and people who are doing the protests in front of the Scientology buildings and properties. So she announced that she was going to be there and to have a meetup at that restaurant that I mentioned, the Tequila Mexican Cantina and Grill on Cleveland Street at 5 o'clock in the evening. And so let me go ahead and show you that meetup. Here she is there. That's Janis on the right on Cleveland Street in Fort Harrison. And then on the left there is Lori Plays. She's one of the channel creators and one of the people who go out in front of the Fort Harrison and walk around and confront the Scientologists there. And she was very nice, and she got to meet Janis. That's her on the left, and then next to her in the black dress is Cheryl Fullerton, who's also has a channel and does similar type things. Videoing out in front of the Scientology buildings in Clearwater. And then the gentleman is John Parsonson, okay? And that's Janis, of course, there on the right. And they all met up there to get to know each other and introduce each other, take photographs, etc. Here, there's people there for dinner, and it's out on the street there on Cleveland Street. Janis was with some former Scientology and Sea Organization friends that were there. Some of them have not come out and are not speaking out, but they're there. But Janis is there. You can see Lori Plays again. You can see Cheryl. And then Janis was also with her friend Roger Weller, who we have featured on our channel. And it was just a good time had by all out there. Janis said that while they were there, they enjoyed each other's company and all that. And they spotted 3 different people that came over and took photographs of them. So I'm sure those are Office of Special Affairs people that were sort of spying and trying to see who was there with Janis. So, and what they were doing. So anyway, so that's a picture of them there. And then here's Janis with Lori Plays. And after they had the dinner, Lori Plays went and walked downtown Clearwater and then over around the Fort Harrison Hotel and the Scientology delivery building. And I'm going to show you a video of Janis driving around those buildings and describing, what she was seeing there. And as she drove by the buildings, she saw Laura Plays and all that. And then Sarasota Jerry was also there, and he wanted to get a selfie picture with Janis. And so Janis pulled over, and then they took a photograph together and all. So that was kind of fun. And I'll show you a video of Janis driving around the property here in just a minute. Here's Janis again with Cheryl out in front of the restaurant there. And then Janis was joined, also, they were all joined by Mark Bunker, who is a longtime critic of Scientology. He's Wise Beard Man, as many anonymous people know him, and he is on the Clearwater City Council. He ran for city council in Clearwater and was elected, and he's actually going up for re-election now. He's also the vice mayor of the city of Clearwater. That's a position that they rotate around, I guess, and he is the vice mayor of the city of Clearwater. I think the mayor stepped down recently, and so basically Mark's pretty much in charge these days. But he came down to see Janis and have dinner and hang out with everybody there. And that's Mark Bunker there on the left, and Janis. And he is, like I said, he's affecting change in Clearwater as a member of the city council. And Scientology, of course, hates that. But Mark's a really good guy, and he's been around for a long time. So anyway, that's a picture of Janis and Mark Bunker. And then, like I said, our friend Roger Weller, he also came up. He lives down in Sarasota, Florida area, and he drove up. And we've done a video. Roger is quite a character. He was a longtime Scientologist from the 60s, and 70s, and 80s, and ongoing. And we have a video that we did on him, which you can find on our channel. Roger has connections to just about everybody in rock and roll back in the 70s. And because he was a creator, he did leather outfits, leather clothing, things like that. And so if you ever want to see his story, go to our channel to Scientology and Rock and Roll with Roger Weller. And you're going to see Roger with a lot of different celebrities back in the day with his leather goods and leather products. And he's just quite a character. It's a great interview that we did with him. There's a part 1 and then the part 2, but you can find that on our channel there. And that's him with Mick Jagger. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and show you the video afterwards. After they finished eating, they drove around the Fort Harrison Hotel and the different buildings there. I'm going to show you a short video of that. Several people are asking about Aaron Smith-Levin. Janis reached out to him, but he was unable to make it that night. And Janis was just in Clearwater for that one day because she's actually in Florida for a special purpose, which I'll tell you about here at the end of the video. But let me go ahead and share this with you, and I'm going to play the video in just 1 second. And this is Janis in the car. She's in the passenger seat driving around the Fort Harrison Hotel, and she's going to describe what she's seeing there and what it used to be. So let me go ahead and do this. Just be 1 second.
Got the student building right there. Okay, that's student building, and then we're here at the side of the Fort Harrison. There's a penthouse up there. It was originally for LRH to live in, but he never did. And here is the lemon tree is right in there. And then across the road is the service building. The old gray moss used to be there. That's the window up there that the lights are on. That's apparently David Miscavige's office or his apartment up there in that tower. And here we're going past the Fort Harrison. There's the old mezzanine. There's security there. I saw a live person. And then here's the old garage. Third floor was where the RPF, or fourth floor, the RPF used to live. And there's some Scientologists down there. That used to be an empty lot, didn't it, Claude?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's Janis. Let me just describe what she was saying. They were driving around the Fort Harrison Hotel, and she pointed up to the penthouse on the top of the Fort Harrison, and that was originally intended to be L. Ron Hubbard's residence, where he was going to live on the top floor. But it was decided that it was too dangerous for him to be up there because how could he get out of the building? And eventually, that became Diana Hubbard and her husband John Horwich and their granddaughter Roanne Horwich. That's where they lived up there on the 10th. Up there on the penthouse above the Fort Harrison Hotel. And then she mentioned the lemon tree. She was looking at the windows, and the lemon tree was one of the restaurants in the Fort Harrison at the time. I think it still is a restaurant. I don't know what they call it now, but that's where the actual dining was for officers and Sea Org members at the time. And then she was pointing up to David Miscavige's in the tower with the lights on up there. That's apparently Miscavige's office and apartment up at the very top. And then she pulled around the front of the Fort Harrison and then around to the garage and up on the third floor of the garage. And that's where the Rehabilitation Project Force used to sleep. They slept in the garage on bunks inside the garage. It was not very well protected. And so that's where that area was there. And, one of the things I was going to mention is that, when they bought the Fort Harrison Hotel in 1975, I mean, it was run down and derelict. And now it looks very nice. And they've obviously spent millions of dollars renovating it and doing landscaping and building that big delivery building across the street. And that's all from donations from Scientologists, basically on the promise that, you're going to free mankind and you need to donate. And basically, they're just taking the money, tax exempt money, and then spending it on all this stuff. Meanwhile, the pay of the staff, they don't pay the staff very much. As a matter of fact, the pay in Scientology organizations worldwide, they can barely survive. They have to get other jobs and moonlight. So, a lot of that money that they make at all the different organizations around the world is stripped up to Sea Organization reserves, and that's the money that's used to build all these buildings, along with the donations that they put people in debt, get them to donate off credit cards, get them to get mortgages against their houses, and that's what you see there. It's basically money flowing from the bottom up to the top with Scientology, and so it looks really nice. But realize where that money comes from to make it look so nice. Anyway, I wanted to mention the reason that Janis is there in Clearwater. She wanted to stop by and do a meet and greet and see people, which was great. And they were really happy. I know Lori Place was happy, and Sarasota Jerry and Cheryl and the different people that were there. But the reason that Janis is there is that she's on her way down to Fort Lauderdale for a memorial, like a life remembrance service for Carrie Gleason, who was one of the most senior Sea Org members in terms of management. He was the executive director international before Guillaume Lesevre was the executive director international. And Scientology was actually expanding and getting larger and larger under Kerry Gleason's leadership. And he had been around on the flagship Apollo, and Janis had known him for years, and as had I. I worked for him for many years. And as a matter of fact, Janis, when she was a young girl on the Apollo, Kerry Gleason was their basketball coach when they played basketball against locals in the different islands that they were at. And Kerry unfortunately passed away sometime earlier this year. And so Janis, they're having a life celebration ceremony, and that's why she's in Florida. So she's going down there, and my condolences go out to Kerry's wife, Jill, and her family. And it should be a nice service and all that to remember. He was a really great guy and a great man. And he was somebody that David Miscavige kicked out and got rid of in 1982, 83, when he was taking over power and dismantling the mission network and all that sort of thing. So anyway, rest in peace, Kerry Gleason. That's why Janis was there. Okay, I want to just share this short video with you. I wanted to remind you of a couple of things here. If you like our content, please subscribe to our channel. It helps get the message out to other people who are not Scientologists and are not people who normally, they may have been abused in other cults or whatever, and they watch YouTube. But then YouTube algorithm actually takes popular videos and popular channels and pushes it out to other people on their feeds, and hopefully our messages will reach more people. So please subscribe. It doesn't really financially benefit us that much. It's really just to get the message out. And we really appreciate all of our viewers who do subscribe to us. If you have any questions or comments, please comment in the comment section down below. And please rock slam or hit that like button. That also helps get the message out to people there. And also, if you want to support our channel and you want to donate to us, you can buy us a coffee. Down in the description, there's a link for Buy Me a Coffee where you can actually donate to our channel. And the money that we get from that goes right back into the channel. It supports the different things that we're doing. So we appreciate your support with anything like that. So one last thing. Janis has two books. This is her book one, Commoner's Messenger. And that's a picture of Janis when she was 13 on the ship Apollo with L. Ron Hubbard. You can get an autographed copy of that book. There's a link in our product section right on this video, as well as at our merchandise store. You can get an autographed copy of her book, and we will ship it out to you. And then this is book two, and it has the photographs that I showed you earlier. It's full of this stories about her life as a messenger for L. Ron Hubbard. It's got lots of photographs in it, and it's well worth it. And Janis will personalize the autograph to you. So you can order that in our merchandise store or down on the products down below. And we appreciate any of that support as well. That's all I have for you guys today. Anyway, I hope you have a great weekend and a great end of the month. And we will see you soon on our next video. Bye-bye. We'll see you next time.